XS Wireless Digital is the perfect wireless audio solution for content creators and filmmakers. Thanks to a 2.4 GHz transmission, XS Wireless Digital is a truly plug-and-play system that allows you to upgrade your in-camera audio with one-button operation. With a variety of configurations to choose from, this entry point into the world of wireless will improve your workflow and will expand the possibilities of how you capture audio for your video. For more information, visit sennheiser.com/xswd.
The new Super 35 sensor that Canon have introduced with the C300 Mark III is quite a big step up from other S35 sensors that they have created before. From the body and the flexibility that gives us in terms of the expansion packs and the interchangeable mount, to the sensor with its increased dynamic range for tackling scenes that possibly we couldn't have tackled or captured faithfully before, I can get more out of this camera. My money goes further. It's as simple as that from a business standpoint. From a creative point of view, it's unquestionably unlocking more creative avenues for us as filmmakers.
Hello everyone, welcome back to ProAV TV. Thank you very much for joining me for these really little informal little Q&A streams. It's just me today, by the way, so I'm mixing this by myself, so hopefully I do a good enough job at this. I haven't done this for quite a while, mixed it by myself. So if anything is wrong, if you can't hear me, or I sound awful, or I'm on completely the wrong shot and you're just looking at my laptop while I'm talking to you, let me know in the chat. I can see video editor blokes already chiming in. Missed the last couple of Mondays because I've had some work on. Good to hear. Looking forward to a bit of a catch up today. Thank you very much for joining me again, mate. So not much has happened really in the last week. It's fairly quiet sort of time in the calendar for camera releases and product announcements in the whole equipment world. So this could be quite a short one today, but if you've got any questions at all, if you've got any topics you want me to talk about, please do put them in the chat here on YouTube or in our comments on Facebook so that I can see them, because unless you guys have got something there to talk about, I will call this one a bit earlier today, simply because, you know, I haven't got a huge amount to fill you in on. But obviously, if you guys have questions and you guys have things which you want me to talk about, then excellent. And we can stay here and chat for the whole hour if you want to. Let's have a look. So, big new thing that's happened this week, in fact today actually, is there's Burdock have had a new offer. So if you're familiar with Burdock PTZs, they've had a very, very popular deal on buying if you buy three of their P200, their sort of mid-range PTZ camera, you get a free PTZ controller, so a physical hardware controller for their PTZ cameras. And this has been a very, very popular offer. We've sold a lot of these in the last year or so, and they've now, between now and September the 30th, so the end of September, they've opened up that offer to their higher end cameras as well. So that's the P400 and the P4K, which obviously the total values come to a lot more money than they did with the P200 one, because they're much higher end cameras. But to get a free hardware controller is a good saving of about $1,500, depending on each of the kits you're looking at there. So well worth knowing about if you're interested in PTZs. I was also hoping to show you today the Mavo Edge, which was due to arrive today, but there has been some courier problems. So hopefully it's not far away, fingers crossed, because this is our demo unit, which was sent in advance of the customer units. But this does mean that the customer units are just around the corner now. We're on track to be shipping those late July, maybe early August. And it's a very exciting camera. It's been a long time since I've talked about the Edge on this channel. I think we first announced it maybe pretty much a year ago now, and it was one of the first things I did in the first lockdown in the UK. And so the Mavo Edge has been a long time coming, but it is finally very, very nearly here. I was hoping to physically have it in my hands to show you on the stream. Today, it would have been a very close call. If I had managed it, I literally would have taken it out of the box an hour or so before the stream. But because of courier problems, I haven't yet. And so fingers crossed, either next week I'll be able to show it to you, or I'll have made a video by then. Because I cannot wait to try out this camera. If you haven't heard of this camera, if you haven't heard of Kinefinity as a brand, I don't necessarily blame you. They're one of the smaller manufacturers of cameras by far. They're a Chinese camera company that have been making cameras for quite a while now, probably about 8 years or so. We took them on and started selling their products maybe 3 years ago now with the Terra 4K, and since then there was the Mavo and the Mavo LF, which were very good cameras, but based around a similar sort of back-end camera design as the Terra. The Mavo Edge is a complete redesign of all of that. It has the same sort of ideas behind it. You know, it's a box camera at its heart. I mean, if you look at it there, you know, it is a modular box camera. but it is much more high-end. So it's 8K large format. It's a full-frame camera. It can shoot in ProRes. It can't do ProRes RAW anymore. They had to take that out, unfortunately, because of lawsuits. But it does do all the flavors of ProRes, including ProRes 444, which is what a most high-end production is shot in rather than RAW, after all. And it does that in 8K, up to 75 frames a second. It's got built-in NDs, which is incredible. It's built in electronic variable ND, which to have in a camera with this small flange distance is incredible. And you can put a variety of different mounts on this. So you can put EF mount on, you can put PL mount on, but LPL, E-mount, but a manual E-mount. There's a whole variety of different mount options. It uses NVMe SSD drives in this slot here on the side, and it's got 2 of those. It's a very exciting little camera from Kinefinity. What else? So I want to talk about 2XLRs on top. This very smart little battery plate here. So it's a V-Lock battery plate, but then it's got a BPU style, so the Sony BPU style battery slot in the middle of the V-mount, which is a brilliant little design. 2 SDI ports there on the back, as well as Genlock and all the rest of it. Yeah, it's a really exciting camera and looks like it's got a fantastic picture quality behind it. And so I'm very much looking forward to trying that out. You can also get it in some bundles which come with all the accessories around it. So there's the core package and then the pro package. In the pro package, you get the body, you get their viewfinder, their Kine EVF, which is a brilliant viewfinder. You get 2 1TB SSD drives with it. You get batteries. The KineKit Edge is the sort of rig that goes around it. Power cables, and then that's another monitor. That's a monitor on the top, a 5-inch high bright monitor there. So yeah, if you haven't seen the Mavo Edge, definitely worth checking out. I am also working on a video on these little DZO Vestbit lenses to show you guys. Really nice, affordable lenses. If you are in the market for sort of not necessarily low end, they're not so like Samyang VDSLR price cinema lenses. They're more like Samyang Zine priced cinema lenses. I think slightly cheaper than Zines. But they're certainly on the entry level spectrum of cinema glass. Very affordable. These are the DZO Vestbit primes, but there's a very complete whole matched set. There's an 18, 25, 35, 50, 75, 90 millimeter macro, which is a focal length you don't normally get. 100, 125. It's a very complete range of lenses. Of course, they're all matched throughout that range, which is one of the big benefits of buying a cinema set of primes rather than stills lenses. And from testing them out, they seem to be really quite impressive. They're nice and sharp. They've got a few, problems like chromatic aberration that you would expect from a cheaper lens. And in some situations, their bokeh is very nice and round. In some situations, it sort of cuts off a little bit at the edge. But yeah, overall, very impressed with them as lenses, and they're built really nicely. They cover full frame, and yet they're this small. Really light, really light, and just very nice and smooth on the focus rings. Really quite impressed with them so far. And a video on those should be coming fairly soon. Let's crack on with some questions. Video editor blokes chimed in as usual. So you've just bought the DJI RS2 off us, but not had a chance to use it yet, using it with an A7S Mark III. What are good lenses to use in this setup? I've got the 24-105 zoom, which I'll try with it, but we'll keep it at its fixed focal length. What are good primes to use? 35, 24, or even wider? It really is down to personal preference, mate. I mean, the 24mm is very common, and is the 35. There's 2 schools of thought. Either you go for a really good quality lens with good autofocus, or you go for a wide light lens but with manual focus. So if you go for a wide light lens, then you set infinity focus and you go for fairly deep depth of field shots, but you get very smooth moves because it's a really lightweight lens. And so for that, people actually use the Samyang VDSLRs because they're so light, or can use pancakes and things like that. I'd say perhaps that's probably the most common option, mainly because of the price of those. You can pick those up really quite cheap. The other thing people use, exactly like you said there, is a 35 or 24, something like that. So let's have a little look at those lenses, E-mount lenses. Of course, the big benefit of this is that you can control the autofocus with... actually, you know what? This would be a really good lens. These little Sigma contemporary lenses would be a really good, sorry, me being by myself and not cutting to my screen. These would be a fantastic combination, thinking about it. These little contemporary Sigma primes, they're full autofocus, they're very small and lightweight. I mean, this is only 230 grams, so barely nothing for a lens. And it's 24 millimeters. Of course, they do other ones. They do a 45. A 35 would also be a nice one for a little bit more cropped in. Getting a 24 and a 35 would actually give you two really nice focal lengths to jump between. So actually, thinking about it, these would be my recommendation for you. Go for those, because they will be so much lighter. I mean, if we compare those to the Sony ones, you know, the Sony G Master E-mount primes, where would they be? The Batis is also a good one. I mean, they don't have quite as complete range, but they've got a 25 there. Much more expensive lens, but really lovely optically. Go for the Zeiss Batis. Where's the G Masters? That's not the right G Master, is it? Can't find it now. There's the 24 G Master. So, you know, considerable price difference, but this one is much, much heavier. Yeah, it's over twice the weight, well, nearly twice the weight. So yeah, I would consider those Sigmas. Yeah, you said you hadn't considered the Sigmas. Let me know your thoughts. What have you been looking at, mate? And I'll tell you what I think, but I would absolutely recommend these Sigmas. So, Kako Nodi says, I'm looking to upgrade from a Fuji X-T3 to a cinema camera for better ergonomics and not needing to build up a rig. Been looking at used FS7 and EVA 1. Do you have a suggestion as to which one would be better? What sort of work do you do? I need to know a little bit more as to which one would be better for you there. What sort of work do you do? What sort of clients do you have? What are your main priorities in a camera? I would say the EVA 1 has a better image than the FS7 does. I would say the FS7 is a more ergonomic package in terms of using it on your shoulder. It's also, if you're in the UK market, much more widely recognised by clients and production houses. So if you're looking to get work in TV or anything like that, even corporate work, sometimes people recognize the FS7 if they've worked in video before. And so, you know, I often describe the FS7 as the producer's camera, because producers recognize it. They know that they're in safe hands with that camera, and they just go, yep, cool, safe bet, got an FS7, fine. Whereas a camera like the EVA 1, for example, they more than likely won't have heard of, and so will be that extra little barrier. So that's a big reason that people still go for the FS7. Of course, the FS7 is showing its age a little bit now. I've never been a huge fan of the sensor inside it. And nowadays there are certainly a lot better options on the market. You say you mostly do social as paid work, but I want to start doing short self-made documentary work. I would also look at other cameras, like if you do social and you want to start doing some self-made docs, I would look at cameras like the C70 would be a very good one. I mean, let me know if you've considered the C70 from Canon. but it's a great price point for a very, very capable camera. It's great for social because you can do all sorts of different aspect ratios, plus you can mount it vertically and have vertical menus on it for shooting vertical video. So we use it a lot here. Mainly do gym, boxing and MMA videos. Okay, so slow-mo could be a big deal for you then. So this does 4K 100 frames a second slow motion, whereas FS7 will do good slow motion up to 150 frames a second, but in 1080p. Either one, you're going to start having to crop in to get up to those sorts of frame rates. So more modern cameras than either the FS7 or the EVA 1 will certainly be a big improvement in terms of slow-mo. And, you know, doing gyms, boxing, MMA, it's an easy way to impress your clients and keep your clients happy by doing a bit of slow-mo, and obviously don't overuse it creatively. But I see a lot of people doing that sort of work, cutting between slow-mo shots and really fast-paced real-time shots. And so the 4K 100 frames a second on cameras like the C70 is very, very popular. So I would certainly look at the C70. The other cameras, newer cameras that I would recommend are the A7S or the FX3. FS3, whoops, FX3, so Sony FX3. Reason I say these ones is because they've got that 4K 100 frames a second, but they also have image stabilization. So for getting in handheld really close to things, the FX3, particularly with its top handle, really great for just getting in close handheld. These could be a really good shout for you. Okay, Video Editor Bloke's come back saying, well, I thought of Sony's own lenses because of autofocus, but I guess the Sigma's AF would be fine. Absolutely. Really similar in terms of performance to the Sony's. I mean, the Sony's are ever so slightly better, but you're really splitting hairs. And so for the cost and the ergonomic benefits of going with a Sigma for your use case, I would definitely recommend that. Could get the 24 and the 35 for the cost of the Sony lens exactly, and as you say, they're much later. And we've got them in stock. So I think that's an easy recommendation for me. And Kokonodi says, yes, definitely want to have slow motion for the social videos. Haven't looked too much in the C70, but I will now. I really like the C70 as a camera. I think it's a great little camera. I really like the FX3 and the A7S as well. I prefer the A7S to the FX3. I mean, they're basically the same camera. But I really like having the built-in viewfinder on the A7S III simply because I really like operating up to my eye handheld in stills photographer mode, if you like. So that one is well worth going for over the FX3, but I really like the C70 as well. The image quality out of the C70 is fantastic. That Super 35 DGO sensor that they use in the C70 and the C300 Mark III is one of my favorite sensors on the market right now. Really, really lovely picture quality from those cameras. Excellent. Okay, so let me know if you've got any more questions. We'll keep this live for a few more minutes, and then if no more questions come in, then I'm going to call this a little bit early. What I do want to talk about is the Instagram channel. So I just wanted to check that people watching this are following us on Instagram, because this is a really big area of focus for me at the moment. We are going to be doing a lot more content on Instagram moving forwards, maybe even some giveaways, things like that, to try and really turn the Instagram page into as active a profile as this YouTube channel. So all sorts of things, from information on kits, tips, tricks, giveaways, all the rest of it, going to be over on our Instagram page. So make sure you follow us there. And Video Editor Bloke is saying today would be a good day to do overheating tests on cameras. Yes, it would. I've turned the, I'm in the studio obviously today, which is normally air conditioned. I've turned the air conditioning off before doing this live because it gets picked up on the microphone, and I can already feel the room starting to get that little bit warmer. It is, if anyone's watching from outside of the UK, it is a very hot day today in the UK. McNeil Bell says, how was your experience with the Atomos Ninja 5 Plus and the R5? I'm anxious to know. Well, my experience with the Ninja 5 Plus and the R5 was non-existent. They don't work together well at the moment. We've had a Ninja 5 Plus, but the firmware hasn't been released yet for the R5 in order to enable all the things the R5 is going to be able to do. And so, although Atomos made a big deal about the R5 in their initial press release on that, we haven't seen that come to fruition yet. They're saying it's coming later on in the year. In my head, I'm sort of thinking September, October, that kind of time is where we often see that sort of announcement. I'm not really basing that on anything substantial at all. It's just a way of managing my own expectations, if you like. We've had no official word from Canon yet at all that they're going to release any sort of raw output on the R5. And for those that haven't seen, it will, the Ninja 5 Plus and Atomos have said that the Ninja 5 Plus is going to be able to do up to 8K 30 frames a second raw from the R5, which is incredible because at the moment the R5 can't output raw over its HDMI port. Technically, the HDMI standard we think they're using shouldn't be able to support 8K, so we're not really sure how they're doing that. Atomos are saying that they will manage it, and so we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, right now, and we have had this big confusion for customers, but right now, the R5 and the Ninja 5 Plus, you're not going to be able to get anything more than you would with the normal Ninja 5 from the 5 Plus. In the future, Atomos are saying that you'll be able to get a raw output and up to 8K on it. Kakanodi says, again, the benefit of IBIS, low light and photo capabilities make the A7S Mark III very intriguing. Just need to decide if having to build it up will make it a pain to use, which the X-T3 can be. Yes, what would you need to add to it to build it up, though, out of interest? And then that will help decide which other stills camera might be better for you. Because if you only need to build it up to add, because, you know, a shoulder rig, I wouldn't say that you necessarily need any more with cameras like the FX6 or the EVA 1 than you do with the A7S, particularly with IBIS. If it's to add NDs, then maybe a camera like the C70 might be better for you because it's got NDs built into it. If it's audio, you know, you can run simple audio into a lot of those cameras very, very easily. If it's battery life, then the C70 again might be a bit better for you because it runs on the bigger BPA batteries and all the BPA 60s, which can run the camera for hours and hours without needing to strap on big V-locks or anything like that. So let me know the reasons why you would want to build it up. Video editor bloke, I see you have a live stream in a few days. Well, we do. What will that be about? Don't recognise the name of the brand/product. Good question. Let me just pull up the YouTube channel so that I can show people what you're talking about. Okay, so this is the live stream that we've got in a few days. So Thursday evening, we're interviewing Pat Blewett from who is the CEO of a company called Innovative. Innovative make the carts that are in the background there behind him in that photo. They are high-end video and film production cards. Innovative. And they are fantastic. They are not cheap, don't get me wrong, but these are sort of the Rolls-Royce, if you like, of equipment carts. You know, they can be rigged out to be DIT workstations, to be camera trucks. So you can have tripod mounts on them, you can have big monitor mounts on them, big off-road wheels, modular design. They pack down really quickly to go down really small. They are fantastic, fantastic products. And Pat is the CEO and founder of the company. And so we're going to have a chat to him about the company, about the history of the company, about what he's trying to do with it. There we go. Eric says, I own an innovative car. Love it. Fantastic. What sort of work do you do, Eric? And whereabouts are you based? Are you here in the UK or are you international? Great to hear from someone who actually owns it. Try and tune in on Thursday evening. Video Bloke says, right, use similar carts in the past. Exactly. If you've been on any sort of big film set at all, production set, carts like that are very, very common. There's brands like Magliner, brands like that that are used all over the place. Innovative are probably a step up from the more common ones that are out there. For some things, like just keeping your batteries on, they're massively overkill. If you want something a bit more complex and reliable, if you want like a DIT workstation, they're very popular for. If you want the camera rigging set, so the main cart that's going to be there next to the camera at all times on a studio, these are fantastic for it. The wheels are very quiet. The handles are very adjustable. You've got big modular systems that you can put anything on. You can have a Steadicam mount on them, all sorts of things. They are really, really lovely products. So yeah, join us Thursday night to have a chat about Innovative. And Sasha is saying, what about Canon R5C? And Eric's come back saying, US-based, freelance, red shooter, some indie films. It's great for location shoots. Yep, absolutely. That sort of indie film market, well, any film market, to be honest, they are great for. And Video Bloke saying, by the way, did ProAV sell the HMY Revo ring variable ND? Like the look of the variable screw size thread for ease of use. I don't think we actually do have the Revo ring. If you get in touch with our sales team, they can probably source it for you. No, I don't think we do have it online. I'll look into that, mate, because it's a good product. I have seen that. I have seen that. No, it should be good. We should be selling that. The sales team will be able to get it for you. So get in touch with somebody rather than just buying it on the website, and we will get that for you. Okay, so Sasha's question about the Canon R5C. I haven't seen anything. Canon Rumors is in a funny place at the moment. I see a lot of Canon Rumors for different cameras flying about when I get no other whiff that they actually exist other than Canon Rumors, and lots of things that they've been talking about for quite a long time now haven't come out. And so I would take things on Canon Rumor websites with a bit of a pinch of salt at the moment. Obviously don't know where they're getting their information from. Let's go to Canon Rumors and have a little look at what they are saying about the R5C, because I haven't seen the any latest rumors on it. Let's see. Is this going to work? Okay, apparently coming in a Q1 2022. So a version of the R5 for videographers. Canon don't normally do that. It would be the first time they have done it. I mean, they obviously had the 1DC, but that wasn't really a version of another. I mean, I suppose it was, but it wasn't a version of the, in the same way as like you've got the A7R, A7 and A7S. It's not quite the same. What I would love to see is a camera from Canon that was truly video focused. I would take this all with a big old pinch of salt, but we will see. Yeah, Sasha says same here, just wondering because you're in the industry. I mean, the way these things always go, if I had been told about something, I wouldn't be able to talk about it to you. If I haven't, I can't talk about it because I don't know anything. So my hands are always a little bit tied, but what I would say is I would take a lot of things on Canon Rumors with a bit of a pinch of salt. And I haven't heard anything that would closely resemble the R5C. Okay. Kako Nodi come back to say, for the X-T3 I had to add an external battery. I've been using the Sennheiser G3 transmitters and Deity D3 to a splitter to the mic port for some projects, variable ND and an external monitor at times, usually working handheld. You have to try a shoulder mount, would be great for upcoming. I have yet to try a shoulder mount, but would be great for upcoming event work. I would look at the C70. The external monitor is something you're always going to have to rig out. Even with big cinema cameras, people often add a big external monitor on the top. You know, you're not going to get a camera with a built-in large monitor. It will get quite clunky. The other things there, variable NDs, the C70's got built-in ND filters, and the battery life, external batteries, the BPU 30s will last for hours on the C70, so battery life is a much bigger improvement over the X-T3 or other mirrorless cameras. And audio, you've got the slightly similar situation, but at least you've got somewhere to mount them on the top of the top handle. You would be going into the mini XLR port on the side of the camera, which is fine. You just got to get the right cables for that. We sell the Blackmagic ones which go into the side, which work perfectly fine. So it would overcome a lot of your problems there with adding external bits and bobs to it, and it just works much nicer as a camera to use for video than those mirrorless cameras, in my opinion. Once you start mirrorless cameras, I love using when you're in sort of handheld or up to your eyes mode. The minute you have to start adding more things to them, I would always prefer a more dedicated video camera over them, because they just get a bit clunky. You can't access controls in the right way, things like that. Okay, Stuart says, do you ever think there will be a C80 similar to the C70 but 8K? Who knows? Canon haven't done much 8K outside of the R5 yet, and the R5 is only really 8K because of the still side of the camera rather than the video side of the camera. Hence why the 8K overheats so quickly on the R5. There has been lots of rumours about Canon doing 8K cinema cameras for quite a while. It's one of those things that I talk about when I say things like Canon Rumors have been a little bit flaky recently with what actually comes out, because they've been saying that something's coming there for a long time, and yet we haven't seen anything. At one point, I think there was even a rumor that there was going to be a complete 8K lineup to sit alongside their current lineup, and basically the same camera in each price point, but in an 8K version, which would be a big move for them. I don't know what's coming. I think if Canon are going to bring 8K to a video camera, I think the C70 is not the first one that they'd start with. It would go higher end and then trickle down. So I can't imagine a C80 is anytime soon. The C70, everything about the C70 is designed to be a cinema camera, but in a small handheld package. It's designed for the solo shooters, working handheld, working and not building that camera up at all, just working within that form factor and working very quickly by themselves. And in that form factor, 8K, it's great, but it's not high on my list of priorities to put into a camera like that. I think it would be much better suited to a larger sensor, more cinematic camera, a bit like the Kinefinity Edge that we were talking about earlier, something like the C500, which is already high resolution at 5.7K, or 5.9K, which one is it? Yeah, I see it coming to those sort of higher end cameras first in Canon's lineup, but I mean, this is purely me theorizing. So yeah, Kakanodi says, thank you for your advice. I'll definitely look at this C70 now. Excellent. Excellent. Glad I could help. Right, let's call it there for today, I think. Thank you very much for watching. And if you want to buy any of the stuff that we've talked about, of course, head over to proav.co.uk, where our sales team would be absolutely happy to help you out. Thank you very, very much for watching. And if you have any questions, just leave them in the comment section down below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.